Thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. We can tell how this week's going, folks. I am Michelle Kane of Voice Matters. I am here as ever with my podcast partner in crime, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great, and that's hilarious. We know that PR always lands on the list of the top most stressful professions, but I want to believe that our jobs are not as stressful as post office workers, although sometimes, some days, you really feel like you're dodging dog bites and trying to manage all the packages.
Well, it is funny. I do have thoughts sometimes when I see them out on their routes. Not that I would necessarily want to do that, but I thought, you know what? You're getting your steps in, you're getting your exercise. You get time to just kind of think. I know it has a lot of stress. I have a family member who works at the post office, so I know it's not fun and games.
That's true, especially this time of year. Yeah. So your busy season is also our busy season.
Yes, it is. We're running for that finish line of the end of year. And well, today we just want to talk about, our topic is soloing together, about how, even though we're solos, sure, we run our own businesses, but that doesn't mean we always have to work alone. I think it's really great to partner up with other solos to work on larger projects, expand your business. So that's what we are going to chat about today. And I will confess up front, that is one of my goals, is to do more of that. And I think I have that hump of getting past, like, well, where do I start? Because, you're so busy in your day-to-day of, doing your client work and outside of course, I work with graphic designers and web developers, the specialists in the areas where, I either don't have expertise or, you only have so much bandwidth. Outside of that, I think partnering is a great way to grow your business and stay sane.
It absolutely is. And so, you bring up a great point. Soloing together is not reserved for just soloing with other PR pros. It can be what you do all the time, is soloing with other solo professionals that have expertise and skill sets that allow you to offer a different mix of services to your clients. And so either one of those paths is a really good way. And the reason that we're addressing this topic now is because everybody seems on edge about the economy.
Yeah.
Everybody. And I want to, encourage you that please ignore all of the experts who are saying that this is the worst that it could ever be. And I urge you to ignore them, because you should continue to do all of the things that you're doing now. Meet with your financial advisor, talk about your retirement timeline and your short-term and long-term goals to make sure that your portfolios are at the right mix for you. Remember that anything in the stock market, you got to have a long-term view. However, if you are closer to retirement, you may need to balance your portfolio a little bit differently. And a financial advisor can definitely help you with that and make sure that you are on track. And then take the advice, do the things, and ignore the doom and gloom. Secondly, I want to remind you, and I'll probably pull this out for our solo PR Pro members. At one of our conferences years ago, I will never forget Tom Martin talking about how his business went to zero during 9/11. As many of you can relate to, there was zero business. He thrived, he rebounded, and he shared some of his advice for making it through something like that. And so I want to encourage you that I started my business in the worst recession that we've had. So now they're referencing that recession that happened when I started my business.
Yeah.
Now, we survived these things, but we survived them by being in the right mindset. Because if you buy into the doom and gloom, that's all you're going to see. And that's how you're going to manage your business. So that's number one. But back to our topic of soloing together. Something I've done from pretty much the start of my business, and I can attest that there are so many benefits to it. This does not mean that you have to build an agency.
Right.
You do not. It just means that you're building in some additional capacity for your business. So the benefits are collegial, having somebody to chat with, having somebody to laugh with, having
Yeah.
somebody to rant with, having someone to brainstorm with my colleagues. And I'll mention Carolyn specifically because we work together on each other's accounts. We bang out stuff faster together than we would alone. And so what does
Yeah.
that mean? It means we're more efficient. We can hop on a phone and we can bang through a piece of content because we're putting our creative juices together and we just work through it rather than sitting on your own and overthinking stuff. It also gives you like that other perspective. It's built in. But I just, one of the biggest things I think is just the support. For example, Carolyn just went on a 10-day vacation and she didn't have to worry because, everybody who works on our team, we were there to manage all of the accounts. And so you can go away without worrying. She did not have to show up for a single meeting. She checked her email, once a day because she wanted to, but she was able to relax and really enjoy her vacation. And so when we talk about becoming a solo to have that freedom, adding a person to the mix can really help you to really enjoy that even more.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think even if you're listening to this and wondering, oh, well, how do I get started? I've seen it organically happen in our membership group, the PR Pro membership group, because that's the perfect place to drop in and ask a question or present a situation where you're, just need some advice or what would you do? And I have seen that flow into pros working together. Because it does help because, I reacted when you said overthinking. Hello, I can overthink with the best of them. And then sometimes it is, sometimes things flow easily. And sometimes I do sit there and go, oh my gosh, this is such an easy, event press release to write or whatever. But still you're like, okay, let's do it. Let's power through. So there are definite advantages to it. And it's funny. Thank you for saying that at the top because I didn't view it so much as soloing together, but you're right. The way my business is built, the way I'm able to have this business is knowing there are other solos and vendors out there who, are more than happy to white label their services to you so you can present as a company front. I say that as a bad, sorry, that's like I'm fencing jewels, but you can present as your company and have these experts, on your team. So there's definitely a way to do it. And you can still maintain, your business life as a solo.
You're right. Sometimes it really happens organically, and we have seen that a lot.
Yeah.
But if you want to be intentional about it, I would say, number one, think about what your needs are. What do you need in your business? Do you need a strong media relations person? Do you need somebody who's really good at content? Do you need social media skills? So think about what you feel is missing or what one of your weaknesses is. And if you were able to add somebody that had that strength, what would that mean for your business? You definitely want to think about what kinds of clients would you go after if you could team up with someone.
Yeah.
And so when you're really clear on, what you need and who you want to go after as a team, that makes it a little bit easier to start reaching out because now you can reach out within your network and say, hey, I'm looking to, team up with someone and here's what I'm looking for. One of the biggest barriers, I think, for many solos is they're worried about starting now when you don't have the business in your mind to support giving away a portion of your income. But I would encourage you to start with something small. For example, you say, you know what, media relations is labor intensive, and it is. And you know what, I can do it. I enjoy it. I'm good at it, but I really need more time to be more strategic and focus on business development. Look at your client space, carve out a few hours, and hire someone to work with you. That way you get to test them out on something small. You really get to assess how they work, if they truly have the skill set that you need. And if it seems like they work out and you like the way they work, you guys seem to be a good fit, you get along well, you understand one another, then you can move on to more business. I know that it seems, really counterintuitive to take the money that you feel like you need right now and spend it. But making that investment in adding a person, I can promise you from personal experience, you will never miss a penny of it
Yeah.
because it will free up your mind space to be more productive for your clients, to be more strategic about your business, and to do more business development. Thanks to Solo PR Pro for myself, too, I can remember taking a huge leap immediately after a conference and bringing on somebody and writing that check every month was, at first, it was like, ugh, but I never looked back. So I
Yeah.
write a lot of checks now.
Yeah.
I just do. And my lifestyle is better. And
Mhm.
if you ask me to tell you logically how this all works out, I can't tell you logically, but I can just tell you I write a lot of checks. Somehow it all works out and I'm never lacking and I never ever miss the money.
Like
So
like we say here in Philly, trust the process.
that's the process. It
But
really does work. And
a
even if
a
you're the most introverted of solos and you love working on your own, I would say think about the future. How
yeah.
can you economy proof your business? Even if your intention is, you know what, selling through 2023 with everything that's happening,
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I add this extra layer of protection to my solo business. So maybe it's not something that you want to do forever. Maybe
Right.
it's something that you just want to test out for a little while. Add a person.
Yeah. And even to piggyback back, I love starting with something small because it's definitely, so much of business is like dating. It's like, do we get along? It's all good. And even if you're not sure, even if that doesn't work for you, or you think, oh, I don't know, set up a virtual coffee time with somebody, do a quick one-on-one. Hey, can you hop on Zoom for a half hour? I'd like to learn more about your business. Just see how, if we could work with each other down the road, because that plants the seed with the other person. They learn about you and what you can offer. And then when and if they have a need, you may be, on their short list of people they would approach to work with. So it can go both ways. And it's always fun to talk with other pros, people in business. It's so much fun to talk shop. And I find that invigorating. And, especially, working in a room by ourselves, as most of us tend to do, it's, you don't realize how important that is until you have done it after not having done it for quite a while.
And I think working with other people, the same that it does in corporate settings, it makes you better.
Yes.
You examine your own processes. Sometimes you pick up
Yep.
something from somebody else that they're doing, and you're like, oh, I never thought of doing it that way. I like
Yeah.
that. Carolyn and I have, I feel like we have this hybrid thing going where, she's picked up things from me, I picked up things from her, and we sort of put it all together, but we're still our own individual people. We still have our
Yeah.
own individual businesses, but we work together every
Yeah.
day. And it just makes the job much more fun, even if, again, you are, that person that wants to be, I'm going to make a Gilmore Girls reference. Sorry to the people who haven't seen it. Even if you want to be like Paris in the cave when the newspaper was caving around her. So even if you love like just working by yourself, that person is not in your space. You still have your
Yeah.
alone time. You still get to do things your way.
Yeah.
But you also get the best of that other world where you get to tap into someone else as well.
Yes, agree. And it's not directly related to soloing together, but for a while, geography has kind of pulled us all apart. People have moved away, but for a couple of years, a friend of mine took it upon himself to create what he called the social business roundtable. And it was voluntarily on a Saturday morning. We all got out of bed early and sat around a table, talked shop. How do you do this? Or what are you doing? Giggled a lot because we had similar sensibilities. And it was great. Like you say, I mean, to this day, I have a stock photo site that I use just because I was sitting next to someone. I was like, oh, what's that? Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
It's the little things and the big things, because I also find that it's affirming. I don't know about you, Karen, but sometimes you get these moments of, ugh, do I even know what I'm doing?
Oh,
And then you can get around other solo professionals and you realize, I do. I'm actually kind of good at it.
yeah. And
So
that you're absolutely right. Again,
yeah,
we can support and encourage one another, learn stuff. No one knows everything. And
no,
I love what you said, because I remember when you used to do those meetings. That's another great way to find people to partner with is,
completely.
if we're all capable of doing this because we're in PR. Even the most introverted among us
Yeah.
can organize something locally, organize a get together where you guys just talk shop
Yeah.
and share ideas. You don't have to do it routinely. Organize it once, see how it goes. And if it's something that you want to put on the calendar monthly or quarterly, go for it. But that's a great way to dig a little deeper and see if there's somebody that you have a business chemistry with and somebody that you might want to explore. And again, that person does not have to be a PR person.
No.
It could be someone that has a different expertise, but it does help. I do want to share practically, because some people have never teamed up.
Yeah.
Practically, how does this work?
Yeah.
Practically, one agency is the lead. So if you secure the business, it's your business.
Yeah.
You're the account lead. It's your account. You have ownership.
Yeah.
You present one single invoice to the client. In my world, clients know exactly how we work. We are a virtual, scalable agency. So they're used to us all having our own emails, because I'm very careful about, adhering to independent contractor laws. We all have our own email addresses. It's no big deal. I'll sometimes create a group for a client. So it may be Words for Hire PR at wordsforhirellc.com. So it'll be an alias because I use Google Business. So you could do that. And then that way the client doesn't have to send emails with their individual thing. They can just send it to a group email. But clients are well aware that we're all senior business leaders that own our own businesses, but there should only be one presenting company.
Right.
So that's really key. One presenting invoice. It's really important to be transparent about budgets, expectations, and what people are going to be paid. So I always ask, if I'm working with somebody, if we're bringing somebody new in, what are your rates? Because I'm not going to dictate what you charge. I want to know what you charge. And then we're going to look at the budget and we're going to slice and dice it accordingly. I'm always clear with people about what I have in the budget that I can pay. If they work by hourly, then I'll say, here's how many hours I have for this. And so I be sure to not be afraid to address any of that. For me personally, I also pay everybody.
Yes.
Regardless of when the client payments come in. So I always have enough budget already in my bank account to pay everybody. Even if a client is late, no matter what happens, I'm going to pay you. If you work with me, you are going to get paid. Most of the time, it's right at the top of the month. Sometimes I pay before the invoices even come in because I just want to get it done. But I know that other people sometimes agree to pay when clients pay. That's your business because it's your business. But you have to be very clear with people and you all have to be in agreement. I would also say that have an agreement between you and another solo.
Yes.
Yes, you do want a written document. No, you don't want to do this on a handshake and a smile.
Right.
Have everything in writing. There are tons of independent contractor agreements. If you need one, you can hit me up at Karen@soloprpro.com. If you're a Solo PR Pro member, I'm pretty sure we have them in the Get It in Writing book. We also have a Getting in Writing book that's free to the public, but it doesn't have the customizable templates. But they're all over the place. You can go to Rocket Lawyer, LegalZoom. They're everywhere, but have an agreement. Sometimes a lot of solos will have their own independent agreements because they're used to doing those. But put it in writing and make sure that you both sign it and make sure that you both talk about the terms. That's really, really important. This is a business
Right.
transaction. I don't care if it's your best friend from kindergarten that you're deciding to team up with, put it in writing. Make sure that you guys are really clear. Make sure that you're clear on responsibilities. Who is going to be the primary client contact? If the client uses Slack for a communication channel, will you have all of your team members in the Slack channel, or will one of you take the lead on, Slack and communications like that? Just talk about it. Be clear, because that's what makes the relationship really work. And then, you guys have to talk about, okay, if a difference comes up, how do we resolve that? Talk about that. The best business advice I ever got was from a lovely mentor who said, when you go into a new business deal, you want to talk about everything in that honeymoon period, everything. Work it all out, write it all down, because if you ever get to the stage where you're fighting or in danger of divorce, it will all be documented. So do everything when you're happy and love each other and you're excited about the process. Because if you hit a bump in the road, you want to have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid if something doesn't go as planned. It's a relationship, and you have to just assess, is this something that we just need to work through as, human beings? Because you kind of can knock heads on stuff or have different styles on something or different opinions. Can you work through it? Or is this like a deal breaker for me? Is this just not the right fit for me?
Yeah, that's come up.
About that.
Yeah, that's come up from time to time where, sometimes the other professional, sometimes it's like an issue with deadlines, and you think, oh, well, that's not good, because that, reflects poorly on all of you. And, it's just not terribly professional. So I love what you said about hashing it all out. And I agree across the board, if generally, if it's other people, like a designer or something that I'm bringing on board, yeah, I act as the lead. I get their quote. They get paid through me, blah, 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 blah. It's almost like the agency model, right? But like anything else, managing those expectations, laying it all out, coming to an agreement. Don't leave any stone unturned, if I could pull up any more cliches today. And just make sure that you're all working from the same point of view.
I would also say, sometimes you really have to take your emotions out of it.
Oh, completely.
And don't feel bad if something doesn't work. Don't let it go on. This is the beauty of independent contractor agreements, is that you're not obligated to treat them like an employee. They're not. If it doesn't work, you're just done and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
Over the years, I've gotten faster and better about that, about just cutting ties, like, nope, doesn't work. Nope, makes me work too much to do what you really should know how to do. And it doesn't mean that my heart doesn't break a little at that. But I also have come to this new understanding that I have a responsibility for a business.
Yeah,
that is
exactly
my responsibility, and I'm being held accountable for that. So don't feel bad. It's okay. And I think that if you just state that up front with somebody, like, well, let's try this for a month.
Yeah.
Make your agreement a month. Say, let's try for a month and see if it works for both of us. Talk about it at the end. And if it doesn't work out, you part ways and you remain friends. Or if you were never friends and you part ways and you still keep it friendly.
Oh, totally. Because it is a small world.
Yeah. And just because somebody doesn't work out for you, it's not a reflection on their skill set or who they are as a human being. It just means it wasn't the right fit for your needs. So it's okay. That happens. And I promise you, in this process, you'll kiss some frogs.
Oh, completely. And, and even in doing so, it does help you learn more about you and how you were conducting business of, oof, how did I not see X? Or, wow, that was a surprise,
Because there's sometimes subtle things that you wouldn't think to put on paper. For example, I'm going to say this. You guys are going to hate me for this, but there are just little tiny things that I notice like, oh, that kind of bothers me. I hate too many words. And I'm
Oh,
not talking about in documents. I hate over communication. It drives me over the top. So
exactly.
I don't want to get a 10-page email about something that you're thinking
No.
about. I don't care. Can you just do what you're supposed to do over there? So I would
What
have
do you
never,
want?
yeah. It's like I would have never been able to articulate that. But now when it happened, it made me more aware, like, oh my God, that vexes my soul. Like it's like nails on a chalkboard to me, and I can't take it. I can't live with this. Please go away.
Yeah, I've had that experience. I've been on the receiving end of essays, and I'm thinking, what does this have to do with the two questions I asked about the thing next week? I don't
Nothing,
care about your
nothing
theories.
more. And also, I don't want people that are asking permission to do
Yeah,
their job. If you are contacting me and saying, should I follow up with that reporter? You and I are going to just have a huge issue. Like,
yeah,
yeah, you're going to
yeah,
hunt them down until it's almost like worthy of a restraining order.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. We're empowering you to do your
yeah.
job,
And
and
I'm being facetious. I hope I just sometimes I feel
maybe.
like I have to say that just in case a reporter. I am not advocating
Oh,
talking reporters.
oh, that part.
Not advocating that.
And yeah, and clarity and communication is so key. I mean, I've been on the
Yeah.
receiving end as well of, where here's the best practice. Okay, yeah, I know that. What do you want from this? Do you want me to take an action?
Yeah.
It's
And
like,
again, that is
yeah,
a personality issue, but I
yeah,
bring that up to say that even if a solo and you don't work out soloing together, you do learn things about yourself and you
yeah,
learn things about your practice.
yes,
I also, tongue in cheek, some of the things that I just said, but on a more, upbeat and really beneficial note, you can learn things about yourself that improve you,
oh,
how you
totally,
work. I have sometimes am stopped in my tracks and go, you're not doing a very good job of being clear on your needs, or you were a little too loose about that. And, so it has made me a better practitioner and continues to make me a better practitioner. So, I'm not so stuck in my ways that I won't bend on everything, but I am aware of the things that annoy me. And at this stage of life, I've decided some of the things that annoy me, it's like, it annoys me. I know that about myself. I accept it. I can live with it. And so this is just the way that it is.
It's so true though, and I do love learning things about myself and getting that feedback, because working on your own, it's feedback is hard to come by
Consistent?
sometimes,
Yeah.
except through these experiences,
Yeah.
and you get a little checking yourself, and you think,
Yeah.
okay, right, good point. And
Yeah. But that feedback also, you'll get positive feedback when you
oh
work
yeah,
with somebody else and they point out something that's great about you that you
yeah,
really didn't recognize. That's very helpful. So it's not
yeah,
just the feedback of, hey, you can improve in this area, but
right,
it can also be like, wow, you're so good at
yeah,
X.
yeah,
And I've had blind spots about my own abilities that Carolyn has brought out in me. And sometimes people uncover things that you just don't know, and then you can lean into that a little bit more. So again,
yep,
I just think the whole process, even when it doesn't work out, makes you better. And
agree.
I would just, encourage you all to at least try it. Like give it a
Yes,
shot, and don't like give one person 30 days and then decide, ugh, I hate this whole thing.
be patient.
Yeah.
And a good place to start is, ask somebody to meet up. If you're not sure and you're like, "Oh, I don't know, what's the worst that can happen?" You make a new connection. Set yourself a goal of maybe 2 people a month,
Yeah.
and so on and so on. So we hope we've encouraged you a bit. We hope we've brought some inspiration and some much needed giggles to this world. And thank you for listening. And until next time, thanks for joining us on That Solo Life.